Hi there everybody, Larry Koch from Brainy Marketing, and today I've got a sober message, a public announcement about COVID-19. I want to help you as a business. If you think you're losing clients, or in fact, if you think you're going to do well out of COVID-19, you need at any rate to change up your marketing strategies, your marketing resourcing, your marketing spend to be able to survive and even potentially prosper in these really post-apocalyptic trying times. So before I get started here, I want to remind you, my name's Larry Koch. I'm the founder of The Brains. We're a digital agency based in Shoreditch. I've also prepared a COVID-19 marketing survival guide. So I just want to say that at the outset, you can get that, access it by clicking on the link I'm going to stick in the description. And that's going to be a much more thorough version of what I'm going to cover in this video. But for those of you who just want a quick snapshot of what's in there, or just to understand exactly what our approach is in this scenario, then please listen up to this. I'm going to denote everything by the acronym Don't Panic, and I'm going to go through that for you right now. And I think that's a fitting name for what's going on at the moment. Now, it's just worth saying that all businesses right now are struggling to cope with what's going on. Okay, so some businesses, with a few exceptions, are doing really, really well because of the changing dynamics. Others are not doing well. And if you find yourself in that category, if you find yourself losing clients, if you find yourself seeing your e-commerce sales drop off, if you find yourself having to lay off staff and not know how you're going to get through the next few months, then definitely pay attention to this. It's also worth saying that most governments are introducing some pretty unprecedented measures to underwrite businesses all over the world. So that includes safeguarding employees, paying them if they get laid off. It also includes things like giving you financial lifelines or access to cheap capital or cheap debt to, keep yourselves afloat. So definitely keep an eye to that. But having said that, I want to say there's two choices you basically have here. Number one, keep doing your marketing, switch it up so that you can make yourself relevant for the current times, or close your business. At the end of the day, if you are losing your traditional customer base, then the only solution to that is to bring in new customers who can use your services right now. Otherwise, you're basically saying, I don't want any new customers and I'm losing customers, therefore I'm going to have to close my business. So if you don't want to close your business, which I imagine most people do not want to, if you work at a company and you want to see it thrive, you really enjoy working there, you want to help as much as you can as a marketer to keep yourself afloat, then pay close attention to this guide and we're going to run through some really awesome things that I hope will help. Okay. First things first, number 1 point, divert your spend to optimal channels. So what this means is if you're unsure about the future, if you're in a cost-cutting mode, you cannot be affording to spend your marketing budget on long-term, very hard to track channels. Let's say putting 10K a month into SEO, putting 10K into a month into PR, stuff that's going to take a while to build up. Unless you're doing well out of COVID-19, which some companies are, do not spend your money on these areas and rather bring it to optimal channels that can deliver customers at a good rate using paid channels where there's an actual science to how it works. You can track what's going on. You can test very rapidly with smaller budgets to get yourself in front of new customers. Now, the second one, optimize messaging with relevant changes. Obviously, if you're going to start doing paid channels, you might already have lots of paid channels. They might not be delivering because the way that you're approaching the market is still the pre-COVID-19 way. We're in a completely different world here, at least for the next 3 months. You need to switch up your messaging and your products to adapt to what's going on at the moment. So I'm going to give you a quick example of an HR company I was consulting with earlier. They're a client of mine that we completely changed the approach. So they're an HR company. They offer training for leadership teams to help them with transformational change. Now, HR is a very discretionary spend for a lot of businesses, so that is being cut as one of the first things that gets cut. Having said that, we are in a world now where people are going to be working from home a lot more. Teams are going to have to be remote and virtual. There's also motivation problems where people are unsure whether they're going to lose their job, what this means for the future of their industry. A lot of people are really, really panicking about what's going on. And so there's an opportunity for an HR practitioner to repackage their services in a way that helps companies deal with this and can articulate why it's so critical for those companies to not abandon their staff mentally, emotionally, and how you can provide a virtual delivery of that course or that program across an organization, sort of virtually. So that's an example of where the messaging has got to change to our clients, potential customers. That being said, the second thing they can also do is to target industries that are doing well out of this. So things like SaaS, productivity, some e-commerce categories, FMCG categories. There's actually quite a few industries that are expected to do well, like pharma and some healthcare businesses. So they can also change their traditional companies that they target to those ones that they think are going to do well. Like retail banking, for instance, is booming at the moment because most governments are providing their loan schemes to businesses through the traditional retail banks. So there is opportunity out there. It requires strategic thinking and a new crafting of your message to these new groups. The third bit linked to point one is do not cut your budgets from primary marketing channels that are driving the sales. It's just about changing the messaging. So you want to reduce your spend, take it away from, if you're going to reduce your spend, take it away from the long-term marketing channels that take a long time to realize, but do not take them out of your immediate paid channels that are generating leads or generating customers. Just come with a new message, but like I said at the outset of this video, if you don't do that, you're going to have to close your business because you're not going to have any new customers. The fourth one is target the right audience based on these contextual changes. So another example from one of my B2B product clients, they usually used to target people when they were at work. Now, if people are working from home, all of their targeting, they're seeing in their analytics, their conversions are dropping off. And that's because they were used to targeting within a geo-targeted area of the City of London and Canary Wharf where most businesses are. So they're obviously having to change their targeting for that. So based on all these sort of subtle contextual changes that are going on, you're going to have to switch up your targeting in line with that. You want to prioritize the spend on the best performing campaigns. So linked to doing everything through paid channels. If you don't have any paid channels, now is definitely the time to start some paid channels. And you want to rapidly experiment with the new messaging, the new targeting, the new products that you think could be relevant, and get to a stage where you can identify the one that is really working and put your eggs in that basket as quickly as possible to get some leads, to get some cheap leads or a good customer acquisition going as soon as possible. You also want to assess things on a daily basis. The governments, like I mentioned, around the world are providing lifelines, vital lifelines to do with guaranteeing staff salaries, even if you've laid them off, guaranteeing a sort of very low cost access to debt, grants, all sorts of things. So in your country, please research and be aware of the various options that you have, as it may mean you don't need to cut what you think you need to cut. So also bear in mind that as this progresses, the restrictions on people will become more and more lax. You know, probably within 3 months, we might see a relaxing of things. You want to make sure that you follow these things so that you can pivot and change in line with this. It's a time for very, very, very quick pivoting as things develop daily. Don't spend on long-term brand campaigns instead of lead generation activities. I think I've already basically covered that. But what I mean by brand campaigns in this sense is, apart from doing quick fire, really light messaging, strategy workshops around who you're targeting, this is probably not a time, unless you are in a position where you can just pause your company, take a step back, because you have maybe you have a lot of variable costs that you can just switch off, or you're doing very well out of this. I would say, unless you're in that category where you can actually just take a step back and invest money in building a stronger brand for the future, you want to disengage from those very existential, long-winded branding processes for the foreseeable future. If you start getting lifelines, if you realize that there's no way for you to get customers right now, but you are being kept afloat by lifelines, now would be a good time to do branding. So I will caveat this, now would be a good time to get yourself in a good position when the doors are unlocked again and the customers come back and rejoin society, that you are in a good position. Include marketing in your investment prioritization plan. If you're deciding what to cut and what is essential, bear in mind that if you switch off your marketing, you are probably in a position where you're not going to have any new customers. So be very careful about including some level, at least, of paid advertising in your spend. And the last one is consult experts on the changes. So that's your financial advisors, that's your loan advisors. And obviously, if you want to discuss anything about marketing, like I say, first take a look in the description at my COVID survival guide right now, marketing survival guide. It's been super useful. I've been getting great feedback from the businesses I've already shared it with and advertised it to. And that's an example basically of me practicing what I preach. That is producing something fit for the times. You need to be doing the same thing at the end of the day. So if you want to speak to me, there'll be a link in the description. You can organize a call if you feel you're struggling or you just want to talk and have an agony aunt to rant to about what's going on. I'm always here, and I've got a very creative team that can help you reimagine things and launch some campaigns really, really fast. Other than that, I hope it's been useful. Please comment on this YouTube video if there's anything you'd like me to cover about marketing in COVID-19, any strategies you want me to explore. I'm very happy to do that if it's going to be useful to people. I'm aware that marketers have a big burden on our shoulders to try and help some companies fight their way out of this, and so we will be here. I will be extra responsive on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'll be producing more COVID-19 related tips and content. Hit the bell notification if you want to be aware of those immediately as they come out. And other than that, please stay safe. Please stay at home if you can, and we'll see each other on the other side, no doubt. Take care. Bye.